learning. So I want us to go through the New Testament, but specifically today I want us to look at the characteristics of Mark's Gospel. When you talk about the characteristics of Mark's Gospel, we are looking at the features, we are looking at the nature of Mark's Gospel. So the following are the characteristics of Mark's Gospel. The Gospel according to Mark is characterized by the following. One, it is characterized by messianic secrecy. Mark, in the 16 chapters that he wrote, he was not clearly bringing out Jesus as a Messiah. So Mark tried to hide the Messiahship of Jesus. So it is characterized by messianic secrecy. That is to say, the Gospel of Mark, Jesus hides his identity as a Messiah in that he does not want people to know him. And actually, if you read Mark's Gospel, you will clearly see that Jesus was always trying to hide his messianic secrecy. He never wanted people to know that he's the Messiah. So in Mark's Gospel, Jesus is trying to hide out his messianic secrecy, unlike in John, which clearly and straight displays him as the Messiah. It is characterized by use of many parables. For example, the parable of the mustard seed, the parable of the sower, many parables that Jesus used. So Mark's Gospel contains a lot of parables, and I've said parables. This is a word. This is something with a hidden meaning. So in Mark's Gospel, it is too much. There are many parables. Parable of the mustard seed, parable of the tenor. There are many which we are going to see briefly. We shall go through them briefly. So it is a very short Gospel compared to other Gospels. I told you in the beginning that Mark's Gospel was too summarized. It is a Gospel that contains few chapters. There are just 16 chapters. Yet other Gospels like John, they have 21 chapters. Gospels like Matthew has 25 chapters. For it is a Gospel that contains brief chapters. The Gospel is too brief in reporting about certain events, such as there was with the author. For example, he describes Jesus' temple in any two verses. If you read Mark chapter 12, verse 1 to 3. So it is a brief Gospel that also briefly explains certain events about Jesus. It is too summarized altogether, and we've said it is a very short Gospel with only 16 chapters, unlike other Gospels. So it is the Gospel. In the Gospel, there is disciples' lack of understanding, and this is shown in many events. For example, the disciples called Jesus a ghost when he was arrested. When they arrested Jesus, they all took off. So they looked at him as a ghost on different occasions. They did not believe that he was a human being because of something that he used to do. So in Mark's Gospel, there are certain events, many occasions where Jesus' disciples looked at him as a ghost. They failed to understand his teachings, they failed to understand his appearance, and many others. It is characterized by the universal approach. It is concerned with all mankind, both the Jews and the Gentiles. Both the Jews and Gentiles, women and men, adult and children, among others. So it is a Gospel that looks at different things. It is a Gospel that looks at the parents, the children, the young, the elder, and etc. So the Gospel of Mark shows a continuous battle between divine forces and the evil powers or dark powers altogether. For example, Jesus gave authority to the disciples to cast out demons, because that for this shows that Jesus also knew that this will not stop. Demons will continue to show up. A lot will continue to happen. So he gave the apostles that mandate, that power, that authority to also become exorcists, to also become evil chasers, because he knew that it won't only stop with him, but also even his apostles should expect that to come towards them. For example, Jesus gave authority to the disciples to cast out their demons, and when he was crucified, darkness fell over the world. We saw that during his crucifixion, the world became dark. That means there were dark forces around. So that is still another point. The Gospel of Mark is characterized with Jesus' passion, narrative that is a lot of Jesus. Suffering is indicated in the Gospel, and it is so. Jesus suffered a great deal of problems. He was beaten, he was flogged, and he was finally crucified. However, after his crucifixion on the third day, he resurrected from the dead and he ascended into heaven, where he is seated on the right hand side of his Father, waiting to judge the dead and the living. So it is characterized with the kingdom of God being a future reality. For example, let me first correct here, as we see. We say, for example, yes, Jesus is ascending into heaven. This shows that God's kingdom is a future reality. So it is characterized with opposition against Jesus, or Jesus' rejection by the Jew leaders. So it is characterized by opposition against Jesus, or Jesus' rejection by the Jews leaders. If you read Mark's Gospel, you see that there was a lot of opposition from the Jewish leaders. There was a lot of opposition from other groups of people who did not look at him as a Messiah, who did not accept his teachings, who always opposed him. Look at the scenario when he preached on the Sabbath, when he performed the miracle on the Sabbath. A lot of things happened. They attacked him, and among others. It is characterized with Jesus' humanity. In many occasions, the author of this gospel presents Jesus as an ordinary human being. Jesus himself got anointed. He was angry. He slept. He associated with the sinners. He experienced the pain. He died. All that shows him as a normal human being, not a divine person. However, the same gospel portrays the humanity of Jesus according to what it wrote. So it also presents Jesus' divinity, meaning appeared to be a extraordinary person, in a way that he used to perform a number of miracles that brought him out as a person of divine powers. It is characterized with the performance of many miracles. Many miracles. In John we call them signs. Many miracles as compared to the gospel of other natural life. Healing, feeding. The gospel of Mark presents the kingdom of God, for example, powerful among others. So if you read it through this gospel of Mark, you'll get to see and to know that Jesus performed several miracles that brought him out as the true Son of God. So those are some of the key aspects that really portrays Jesus, really gives out the characteristics of gospel. Those are some of the key points that really portrays to us, that displays to us that the Gospel of Mark was really a true gospel. I beg to submit from here. I wish you a good day.